All right, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Jes. I am Jess Marcy. I am a clutter coach. And if you're seeing this, it's because you follow me somehow on social media or you're in our It's All Clutter group or one of our other programs. So every Tuesday at 1:15 Eastern Time, I go live and I answer questions that you have asked during the week or submitted for the Ask Jes segment. Today, we are going to focus a little bit on Thanksgiving because we have a lot of Thanksgiving questions, but I'll start with the two non-Thanksgiving questions. Then we'll move into all of the questions around how to prepare your house and your sanity for Thanksgiving. Okay, but prior to that, question number one, what is your take on getting rid of books? I have so many that I love and I could read again, but will I? It's a good question to ask. And I have tons to be read. I have found a used bookstore that will take them, but I'm not sure it is worth it to pack them up and drive an hour. I just look at all the money. Help, give me your wisdom. Also the same for clothes. I know the guidelines about if you haven't worn it in years, toss it. I have gained back over half the weight I lost 2 years ago, and I'm starting a diet again. I won't have anything to wear if I lose weight. Help. All right, so I want to focus on one thing here first. This all or nothing mindset. I won't have anything to wear if I lose weight. This is a fear-driven comment, and it's really very, very all or nothing. So is that true? You'll have absolutely nothing to wear. I mean, we get stuck with clutter because we think if I don't have this in the future, I'll have nothing that I could use. I'll be completely without all the things that I need. It's very scarcity driven mindset. So whenever you hear yourself saying, I'll have nothing, or that kind of that like all or nothing, I want you to really think about, is this true? Is this true? You'll have nothing. And if you did have nothing, what could you do? Would you be able to get the resources that you need? In this case, we're talking about clothing in the future. Probably the answer is yes. So avoid the all or nothing mindset when we're talking about clutter. In terms of clothing, you really want to think about having what is best for you right now as the bulk of your collection. So clothing that fits and that you love should make up most of the collection of clothing that you have in your closet. Clothing that doesn't fit you is a distinct other category. So think of it as a separate category within your clothing, and then figure out how much space you're willing to devote in your closet to clothing that doesn't fit you. Maybe it's 12 inches of hanging space, maybe it's a drawer, maybe it's one bin, but give yourself a parameter around stuff that doesn't fit you, that you can't use right now, that you're not using right now, and stick within that parameter. If the future happens and you change sizes, you probably will be able to fit into some of your clothing still and be able to get clothing from another source that does fit you. So I wouldn't stress too much about not having all the clothing in the future. The future will provide when you need it to. When it comes to books, donate your books to your local library. That is the easiest thing that you can do if they are in donatable condition. Donatable, is that a word? If they're in good condition, if they smell mildewy, if they are moldy, if they are stained or falling apart in whatever way, recycle them. I don't think it is worth your time, really, almost ever, to drive over an hour to bring donations when you can just bring them to a local library or recycle them. I used to be a library director, so I can tell you your local library does not want books that cannot be used in their collection, they cannot be circulated, or that cannot be sold. They will be tossing them into the trash. So save your local librarian that time, or the local Friends of the Library group, that time and effort, and only donate books that are current, relevant, and people will actually purchase. Otherwise, they can be recycled. And when you look at it and all the money, just remember, the money has been spent. You're not saving money by keeping stuff that you're not using. You're actually losing your sanity by doing that. So what is worth more, your sanity or something that you had, that you paid money for, that you're not, it's not like you're saving money by having it. You're just losing space and it's driving you crazy. So we don't need that in our lives. All right, question number 2 that's not relevant to Thanksgiving, and then we'll move on to the many Thanksgiving questions. I have probably 50 some keys. I don't know exactly what they are for, but I think I'll figure it out someday. My dad passed away 10 years ago with a lot of unlabeled keys. Guess who has them? Could this be genetic? Probably not genetic, but possibly a learned behavior for sure. If you have 50 keys, you don't know what they go to, they're not labeled, and you're not going to take the time in the next month to figure it out. I would just, I guess actually, for keys, toss them, recycle them. You can bring them to like a metal fabricating place. Um, you don't need to keep them. If you don't know what they go to and you're not going to figure it out, I mean, 50 keys is a lot of keys. Are there like, I can't even actually, I'm trying to think of what 50 keys could possibly go to. Test them out. I mean, if you have something that's locked that you're trying to open, but you haven't needed to open it in the last 10 years, are you going to need to open it again anytime soon? If you've had no purpose for these keys in a decade, I think it's unlikely you're going to find a purpose for them in the future. So you can let them go. You have the story here that your dad had a lot of unlabeled keys and passed them on to you. That's a great story. That's humorous. I read that and I smiled. I felt like this kindred connection with your father. That's an awesome story. You're not throwing away the story. You're throwing away the keys because they're just taking up space and they're not relevant to your life right now. All right. On to our Thanksgiving questions. What are some practical tips for decluttering and organizing my space to make Thanksgiving preparation smoother and more enjoyable? If you're hosting Thanksgiving and you only have a week and a half to declutter and organize your space, I would focus on the most important areas: living room, kitchen, guest bathroom, dining room, wherever you're eating. I would really focus on those areas, make them how you want them to be. And then in terms of making your Thanksgiving preparation smoother and more enjoyable, the more you can get done earlier, the better. So if you have time over the weekend, do all your shopping or Instacart your groceries if you don't have time to go shopping. Really do anything that you can to make it easier for yourself. The vast majority of a Thanksgiving meal can be cooked in advance and frozen and then reheated, or refrigerated and reheated. I think it's very difficult to enjoy yourself and cook an entire Thanksgiving meal on Thanksgiving. So do as much as you can in advance, or tell people specifically what you want them to bring so you don't have to worry about it. But set yourself up for success with getting as much done as you possibly can early on in the week. A similar question: how can I effectively declutter my kitchen and dining room area to make room for a Thanksgiving meal preparations? Focus on drop zones. So if you have drop zones in your kitchen or dining room area, clean them up, and then every day go back to that drop zone and re-clean it. So make sure that it's not a stay zone. Drop zones exist, but they become problematic when they become stay zones. Focus on those drop zones every single day leading up to this one meal that you're having, and just keep them clear every day. Clear them once, keep them clear every day. It'll just take a couple of minutes to maintain them, and then you'll have clear working space for Thanksgiving. Let's see. What are some quick you guys basically asked the same questions with different wording. What are some quick decluttering strategies for creating a welcoming and spacious environment for Thanksgiving guests? So I think we pretty much covered that already. Tackle your drop zones. Make sure that your kitchen, dining room, living room, and bathroom are clean. Just keep those, focus on the main areas. Your whole entire house does not need to be in perfect condition for your family. And by the way, they're coming to see you. And if they're judging your house, well, that's on them, not on you. You're creating a great meal for them. Let's see. Can you provide advice on managing and decluttering decorations, especially during the holiday season? Yes. So decorations, if you're pulling decorations out for Thanksgiving or Christmas, this is the time to also declutter decorations. This makes sense for two reasons. Number one, you're already taking everything out. Number two, this is a good time to be donating decorations because people are looking for decorations. So it's a great time of year to donate decorations. So pull your stuff out maybe a little bit early, a couple of days early. Give yourself the time to actually declutter what you don't. If you are constantly passing over decorations every single year, pass them along to somebody who might use them. Donate them to a Goodwill or a local donation center. Give them new life by passing them along. And then figure out how much you actually want to store when it comes to decorations, and commit to only returning to your storage space what fits in the amount of the bins that you have, right? So just whittle it down to the right amount for you. In terms of time management, what are some effective ways to balance decluttering efforts with other Thanksgiving preparations? So I really feel like when we're at the holiday season, we want to focus on maintenance first. We want to keep what we've done maintained. And then if you're hosting or you're traveling, focus on making that an enjoyable experience or as stress-free as possible. Don't worry about the decluttering right now. I promise that in January, February, March, April, you will want to declutter like crazy. So you can rely on that motivation to be there in the new year. Right now, you need to get through this holiday season with as little stress as possible. If that means decluttering goes to the back burner because you are focusing on other stuff, that is okay. And of course, the other side of that is to try not to bring too much in over the holidays, because the more that you bring in, the more you're going to be decluttering in the future. So that's one way that you can control decluttering. Because remember, decluttering is stopping the flow in and increasing the flow out. If you can just work on making that flow in be less right now, that's going to be so key in the future. I'm trying to get my Christmas items sorted and packaged before Thanksgiving, plus Thanksgiving trip. How do I keep from being overwhelmed? Top 3 things every day that you need to get done, do them first. Front load your day. What are the top 3 things that are going to make you feel less overwhelmed if you did them today? Come up with that list. And then before you do anything else, get those 3 things done. So front load your day, meaning do the most important things first. Don't do other things that are not important. Get those things done first and foremost. Give yourself a limit of 3 a day, because honestly, it's too much to do 10 top priorities every single day. Top 3, get them done first. And then that's going to help a lot with your overwhelm. Any suggestions for clearing out the refrigerator? I like mine organized for Thanksgiving leftovers. Yes, clear it out. I mean, I would actually, this is a good weekend or week and weekend to do a deep clean of your refrigerator. Anything that is on the verge of not being good, or it's a condiment that's been in there for like 6 months or whatever, toss it. You need the space, especially if you're hosting Thanksgiving, you need the space for that meal. So do a ruthless declutter and deep cleaning of your refrigerator and freezer this week or this weekend, and you're going to be in great shape for the upcoming meals, upcoming holidays. I really try and have as empty a refrigerator as possible when we roll into holiday weeks, because it just helps everything go so much more smoothly. I would also say stay on top of the refrigerator. Don't let it get backed up. Like day to day, just do a quick toss, whatever you can. It really, really helps when you're doing your holiday cooking. Let's see. Maybe how do we have a conversation with family about impending holiday gifts and stuff, and transitioning to things we and others need instead of things they may not be able to use? Where is everyone on this topic? Surprise gifts are nice, but how do we discuss this topic with our loved ones without offending anyone? This is a great question. I think the transition to a different sort of gift giving in your family is one that takes many years, but it starts with having an honest and loving conversation now. So if you don't want gifts given to you or to your children, I would be very specific about that, but also offer an alternative. So one thing that is helpful to say is the most important thing that my children need is your time, or maybe an experience with you. The last thing that they need is more stuff. And that's going to add a lot of stress to my life if you insist on giving them a lot of stuff this year. So can we do what is best for them and for me, and gift experiences? Or, I mean, you ask any teenager, the only thing they want is money, right? Gift experiences, gift money, gift a consumable gift. You can also transition, maybe instead of everyone exchanging gifts, to doing some sort of gift giving, like where you get one gift, you like pull the name out of the hat. My brain is not working right now, but you know what I mean. So maybe you can transition to a new tradition that is not everyone giving everyone something. Just start the conversation, keep the conversation going. Say, I understand that you love to give gifts, but this has to work for both of us. So what can we do to transition to something different? Taking that first baby step this year. Are there labels made especially for freezer for holiday leftovers? That's a good question. I usually use blue painter's tape with a Sharpie marker. That works really well. So that's my go-to. There may be labels, especially for the freezer, but remember to use what you have on hand first. You can also write Sharpie right onto a container. Use what you have on hand first. As we start to remove holiday decorations from any areas, maybe something about storage of that holiday stuff. Any tips for what works best? Yeah, holiday decorations should be stored in an area that is not prone to a lot of heat changes or humidity changes. So usually attics and basements where we keep our holiday stuff are not the best. But if you do have to put them into one of those areas, make sure they're in sturdy, good, thick storage, because otherwise the decorations might get destroyed. So if they're sensitive decorations, I would put them in an interior closet, not into an attic or a basement or a garage where they could get destroyed. And if they're not delicate or sensitive, put them into those other spaces, but make sure they're in really solid storage that's not going to get eaten through by rodents. It's just going to keep the stuff nice and in good condition year to year. And that is the last question. Okay, we're probably going to continue the conversation about holidays next week also. So if you have further questions, make sure to either send them to us, support@prioritizeyoursanity.com, or pop them into the comments and we'll add them to the spreadsheet for next week. We have a decluttering marathon on Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to get a jump start on your holiday stuff, if you want to declutter or clean or organize or prep food, and you want to put aside that 4 hours to do it, join our decluttering marathon, declutter with others in our community. You'll have a lot of success, get ahead, and we will drop a link to sign up in there. I'm wishing everyone a great week, and I will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.